Namaste and welcome. This is day 5 of Navaratri here at Devi Chamunda Mandir. I'm Yamajit, and today we're going to have our Puja meditation and Satsang for chapter 8 of the Devi Mahatmaya. So again, welcome and Namaste. Let's go ahead and begin with our opening Puja. Om Pavitra Pavitrova Sarvavastam Gatopiva Yashmare Pandarikaksham Savyabhyanta Sushi Om Shuklam Bharanam Vishnum Zeshivanam Shutovijam Prasnavanam Dayat Sarvavignopasantaye Chiganesha. Om Guru Brahma Guru Vishnu Guru Devo Maheshvara Guru Sakshat Param Brahma Tasmai Sri Guru Ve Namaha. Jai Guru. Om Trayambakam Yajamahe Sagandim Pushtivardhanam Orvarukameva Bandhanan Mrityur Mukshya Mamritat. Om Namah Shivaya. Devi Prapanote Hare Prasida Matara Jagata Kilasya Prasida Vishvesvara Pe Vishvam Tvameshwara Devi Chachara Charasya. Bhadrakali Kapalini Jai Tvam Devi Chamunde Jai Bhutita Harani Jai Sarvagate Devi Kalaratri Namostute. Om Jema. So Devi Mahatmaya, chapter 8, meditation. We meditate upon Bhavani, the embodiment of existence, the grantor of perfection, who is surrounded by rays of light and other subtle energies. Her body is of red hue. Her 3 eyes are exuberant with compassion. Her hands are Om, the Rishi said. When the Lord of Thought became aware of the death of passion and anger, and many of their army, so this is the demon Sumba, then excessive anger filled the mind of the infamous self-conceit, again the demon Sumba. He ordered all the armies of thought demons to march to war. Today let all the thought demons of strength arise. Let 86 plunderers of peace holding weapons and 84 without restraint assemble with all their forces. I order 500 million heroic warriors of the family of thought demons to assemble, and the assemblage of hundreds of the family of vices. Let them march off to war. And let the thought demons born of calamity and thoughts born of perplexed hearts and recurring thoughts and fears of the unknown be ready for war and immediately set forth at my command. After the command, Sumba, self-conceit, the terrible ruler, marched to battle surrounded by thousands of warriors. When the Divine Mother saw that exceedingly ting of her bowstring, Hum, the mantra rang from earth to the sky. O king, then the lion of the goddess began to roar extremely loudly, and the mother of the universe increased the noise with the sound of her bell. With the twang of the bowstring, the roar of the lion, and the sound of the bell, the hum of the sound rose in all directions from the tremendous mouth of the remover of darkness, that's Kali, and her sound was even more dreadful than the others. Having heard that tumultuous sound in all four directions, the warriors in the army of thought angrily surrounded the goddess and lion and Kali, the remover of darkness. Your Highness, at this time, in order to slay the thought demons and raise the gods back to heaven from the bodies of the creative capacity, the consciousness of the infinite, goodness of consciousness that pervades all, and also the rule of the pure and other gods as well, energies emerged in the forms possessed of extreme valor and tremendous strength, and these forms joined in the battle with she who tears apart thought. So as this battle began, another 7 forms of the Divine Mother manifested. In the same dressed in ornaments, and with the same carriers as the gods possess, and at the same appearance their energies became to fight the war with the thought demons. So essentially these are going to be the Shaktis of a number of different gods. Seated upon a carrier yoked to swans of vital breath, displaying a rosary and a begging bowl, came the energy of the creative capacity called creative energy. This would be the goddess Brahmani, the Shakti of Lord Brahma. The energy of the great seer of all arrived riding upon a bull of discipline, bearing the trident of unity and wearing bracelets of great serpents of energy, with the digit of the moon of devotion shining on her forehead. This would be Maheshwari, form of Ma Parvati, the Shakti of Lord Shiva. The energy of the ever pure one, the mother of the universe, who is in the form of consciousness, holding a weapon of energy, arrived there, carried by a peacock of beauty to fight with the thoughts in the battle. This would be the goddess Kumari, the Shakti of Lord Skanda, the warrior son of Shiva and Parvati. And the energy of consciousness that pervades all arrived, sitting upon a great bird of brilliancy, with the conch of vibrations, discus of revolving time, club of articulation, bow of determination, and sword of worship, in her hands with which to fight. This would be the goddess Vaishnavi, the Shakti of Lord Vishnu, Lakshmi in other words. The energy of the uncomparable, he who pervades all, the most excellent desire of union, also wore the form of a boar and presented herself. This would be the goddess Varahi, the goddess as a sow, really the Shakti of Vishnu's boar incarnation, Varaha. The energy of the illustrious man-lion of courageous fortitude took the same form and arrived. From her fearful roar and the toss of her hair, the stars were scattered about the sky. This is the goddess Narashini, the Shakti of Vishnu's man-lion incarnation. Mounted upon the king of elephants, the energy of the rule of the pure arrived with a thunderbolt of illumination in her hand. She had 1,000 eyes, just as he. This would be Indrayani, the Shakti of Lord Indra, the lord of the storms in the sky. After all the energies of the gods had collected, the great god who said to she who tears apart thought, I will be pleased if you will quickly slay all of those thought demons. Then from the body of the goddess manifested the excessively fearful and extremely terrific energy known as she who tears apart thought, who made noise in the manner of numerous jackals. That invincible goddess said, one of dark matted hair, that would be Kali, the great Lord, great God, Supreme Lord, please go to self-conceit and self-deprecation as my ambassador. Actually, I take that back. That was Lord Shiva. I'm going to read that again. That invincible goddess said to the one of dark matted hair, the great God, Supreme Lord, please go to self-conceit and self-deprecation as my ambassador. Tell these two extremely conceited ones, self-conceit and self-deprecation, that any other thoughts there ready to wage battle this order. If you want to live, then return to the lower worlds. Let the rule of the pure be king of all three worlds, and let the gods enjoy their portion of sacrifice. But if in the strength of your collective pride you still desire to fight, then come. My manifestations will be pleased to enjoy your flesh. Because this goddess sent consciousness himself, that is Lord Shiva, as her ambassador to the thoughts, she has become known in the world as Shivaduti, she for whom Lord Shiva is her emissary. Those great thoughts, hearing the words of the goddess from the mouth of consciousness in great anger, went to where the ever-pure one was brilliantly shining. Then, from above, the wrath of the thoughts caused a rain of arrows, energies, spears, and other weapons upon the goddess. She playfully cut to pieces those arrows, pikes, energies, weapons, and battle axes hurled at her by the enemy thoughts, with the great arrows let loose with the twang of her bowstring. Then the remover of darkness, Ma Kali, went in front of those enemies, and striking with her pike, began to kill them with the missiles of consciousness. She reduced them to powder on that battlefield. Creative energy sprinkled water from her begging bowl on the groups of thoughts, and whomever the water fell, his vitality and valor was destroyed. The energy of the great seer with her trident, the energy of consciousness that pervades all, with her discus, and the ever pure one with her energy, battled with the thoughts in a fierce rage. The energy of the rule of the pure struck with her thunderbolt, killing hundreds of thoughts and confusions, who fell to the ground with blood flowing. The energy of the most excellent desire of union killed many with the blows of her snout. Many chests were punctured with her prominent tusks, and many thoughts fell to their death from the blows of her discus. The energy of the illustrious man-lion killed many great thoughts with her claws and devoured them. She filled the sky above the battlefield with the hum of her roar. Many of the thoughts fell to the ground from fear of the excessively furious laugh of she whom consciousness is her emissary, and she relished their taste in her mouth. Seeing the multitude of mothers slaying such great thought demons in various ways, the army of thoughts began to run away. Seeing those oppressed thoughts fleeing from the forces of the mothers, the seed of desire, the great thought of bounteous strength entered to fight in excessive rage. When a drop of blood from his body touches the ground, another great thought demon with the same intensity is born in that very place. So the demon armies have been scattered, and a demon general by the name of Raktabija then comes on the scene. Raktabija means blood seeds or seeds of desire. And whenever he is wounded, every drop of blood that falls to the ground springs into an equally powerful demon. Think about how in one's life, sometimes one desire leads to another desire, leads to another, leads to another, and leads to another. The energy of the rule of the pure began to fight with this great thought, who held a club in his hand. Then she smote the seeds of desire, Raktabija, with her thunderbolt. Wounded by the thunderbolt, blood poured forth from his body, and every drop of blood that touched the ground, there appeared the same form and equally fierce. For as many drops of blood that poured forth from the wounds of the seeds of desire, just so many warriors manifested, all equally valiant, equally strong, and equally fierce. Those warriors born of the seed of desire possessed extremely fearful weapons, and they began a violent battle with the multitude of mothers. When he was wounded on the head by that meritorious thunderbolt, and the blood began to flow, then from it thousands of warriors were born. The energy of consciousness that pervades all struck the seed of desire with her discus. The energy of the rule of the pure smote the general of the armies of thought with her club. Wounded by the discuses and the energies of consciousness that pervades all, profuse blood poured forth, manifesting in thousands and thousands of great thoughts, and soon the entire gross world was pervaded by the seeds of desire. The ever pure one struck that great demon, the seed of desire, with her energy, and the energy of the most excellent desire for union with her sword, and the great seer of all with her pike. In great anger and great thought, the seed of desire himself struck with his club at all of the energies of the mothers. Wounded by the energies, pikes, and other weapons, the blood poured forth from his body as a river, and certainly there were uncountable thoughts born from it. This is the way the thoughts born of the seed of desire pervaded the entire perceivable universe, and the gods became greatly frightened. Seeing the gods' dejection, she who tears apart thought, Ma Durga, promptly told Kali, the remover of darkness, Chamunda, slayer of passion and anger, expand your mouth. Quickly eat those seeds of desire and all those great thoughts that come from the seed of desire when he is struck with the blows of my weapons. Stroll about the battlefield and eat all of those great thoughts born of that blood, and all the blood is wasted, so he will soon destroy himself. When you will eat those fearful thoughts, then new thoughts will not be born. Thus saying, the goddess who tears apart thought struck the seed of desire with her pike. And Kali, the remover of darkness, took his blood in her mouth and then struck she who tears apart thought with his club. But the goddess felt no pain from the blow of the club. Still, the blood continued to flow from his wounds. But whatever blood fell, Kali, the slayer of passion and anger, took in her mouth, and many great thoughts were born from that blood she instantly took into her mouth, and she also drank the blood. Then the goddess fought with the seed of desire with her pike, thunderbolt, bow, sword, and spear, while the slayer of passion and anger drank the blood. O king, the seed of desire was wounded by such that great collection of weapons and deprived of blood, and the great thought fell to the ground. The gods attained unconceivable bliss. The multitude of mothers delighted from the drink of his blood, danced vigorously with joy. Om. So the goddesses that are assembled for this battle are known as the Ashtamatrika, or 8 little mothers. And I'm going to show you a modern art print. Try and get this so that you can see it despite the glare. So in the center we see Durga. Below there's Kali with her long tongue. We see the demon Raktabija on the ground, dying by exsanguination, and all of these other goddesses following behind. Of the Matrika, sometimes they number 8, sometimes, like in this silver folk amulet that I'll bring up, they equal 7 in number, the Shaptamatrika, and on one side of them is standing Lord Shiva. Quite often when you see a goddess yantra, there are 8 flower petals around the edge, and those 8 flower petals represent those 8 forms of the Divine Mother. If I show you this Sri Chakra, the inner circle of petals are 8 in number and correspond to the Ashtamatrika. If you'd like to know more about the Ashtamatrika goddesses, I invite you to look at my channel. There are several pujas and satsangs and PowerPoint presentations that'll give you more information on them as individuals. And this coming Friday, we'll be doing an Ashtamatrika puja to one of the Ashtamatrika. Depending on the tradition, the 8th goddess varies in who she is. Sometimes it's Narashimi, the goddess in the form of a lioness. Sometimes it's Ma Durga herself. And so we're going to be honoring Ma Durga this coming Friday. And then sometimes, depending again on region and tradition, Mahalakshmi is the 8th of the Matrika. And next month we'll be honoring her. I'm going to pan the camera up to the window and hopefully, it's too much glare. But there's a banner over the window, and there's 8 small devotional masks from Nepal hanging from the edges of it, and those represent the Ashtamatrika. Sorry for the glare. There we go. The camera makes it a little bit better. There's one other thing I want to say about this particular story before we go into the meditation, and that is we have Ma Kali playing a major role in this battle. She is killing and eating these numerous demons that have sprung from these drops of blood, and she's drinking the blood herself. And in some variations of this story, at the end of the battle, Kali's bloodlust is just unsatiable. She is continuing to go about that battlefield slaying demons, even the ones who are running away. And the gods feared that in this rage of bloodlust that she could destroy the whole world. And so Shiva, who was on the scene as the goddess's emissary, and traditionally the husband of Kali, he said, I can calm her. And so he laid down upon the ground, and she came forward, and as she stepped on him, she was instantly calmed. So this is a brass folk piece of Kali upon Shiva. This actually came from the Chamunda Devi temple in Himachal Pradesh, India, where by tradition this battle took place. So we see Shiva on the ground, Kali is stepping on him, and note by his neck there's a cobra that's standing up, and it's like Shiva is a corpse when he's lying on the ground, but when she steps on him, he's instantly aroused. There are some other illustrations that have kind of a less modest form of Shiva's arousal, and there are even some tantric paintings where Ma Kali is mounted upon him and the two are in copula. Something else interesting to note is Kali's tongue is out, and there's a couple of interpretations to this symbolism. So there's kind of what I call the patriarchal version, and it's where Kali is stepping across the battlefield. She steps on Shiva, and she becomes embarrassed by the fact that she stepped on her husband, and she sticks her tongue out in embarrassment. A deeper interpretation of that tongue symbolism, the tongue represents two things, and this is something I've mentioned in my books. So the tongue represents the yoni on one hand, and the tongue also represents the flames of the cremation ground. So the tongue symbolizes the power of the Divine Mother as the force that brings us into this world and the force that takes us home when our time has come. So in this particular image, we see another important aspect to the Shakta tradition of Hinduism. That is the goddess-based tradition. And we have Kali on top of Shiva, Kali assuming a much more dynamic role, and Shiva taking the receptive role, kind of the opposite of how these polarities, dynamic and receptive, are illustrated. And so in Shakta Hinduism, the Divine Mother represents the laws that govern the universe, and Shiva, the male god, represents energy and matter under the influence of those laws. And something else that Shiva also represents is we are Shiva. We are like a corpse. It is like we are dead until we allow the presence of the divine to be in our lives. Jai Ma Kali. If you have any questions, again, feel free to email me at my channel. So I invite you now to, once again, find a comfortable position. Can be seated on a cushion, can be in a chair with a straight back. Any position you can be for meditation for the next several minutes. I invite you to close your eyes. Begin to breathe deeply and slowly. And let the syllables and the mantras and the verses, let them take your consciousness to where it needs to be for this meditation at this moment. Jai Ma. Jai Ma. Jai Ma. Ashtamodaya Dayanam Om Arunam Karunatarangita Drita Pasankusha Bana Chapahastam Anima Dibhira virtam mayuker aha mityeva bhairave bhavanim om risiruvacha chandescha niyadayate mundecha vini patate balahu cha sanyaso kasyayitsva soresvara tata koparadhina chitta sumba pratapavan udyogam sarva sanyanam dayanam adidasyaha adya sarva baler dayat dadasatirudayoda kambunam chaturstitir nuryantu svabaler vritta koti vrityane prasasyad asuranam kulane vai satam kulane dharmaranam nirgachanto mamanyana kalika daruda maria kalekes tatasora yohate haya sirja nayanto agnya tvarita mama Ityanaptye Sodapate Sumbo Bhairava Vasyasana Nigjam Gama Mahasanya Sasarea Babhivrita Ayantam Chandika Dristva Tatsayam Abite Saranam Jayasvanya Purayamsa Dorane Gagathantaram Tatasimo Mahanadam Ativa Kritvanipa Ganta Svetnana Tanadam Ambika Kopa Brimhayat Darno Jia Simha Ganatam Nada Puradin Mukha Nina der Brisana Kali Jigye Vitarastanana Tam Nidam Upasutra Daya Sayanyas Chaturdisham Devi Simastata Kali Sarusya Padavirta Es Tasmin naretate bupa vinyasaya soradvisam bhavanamara mirhanam atiryadya balavrita bhamasa gudha visunam tatarandrasya cha saktiya sirabhyo sirakramya Tadrupachapayas Chandikamyaya Yasya Devsya Yadurupam Yatya Bhusana Varanam Tadvadeva Hi Chaktir Asuran Yodhom Mayuya Haseyukta Jamangare Shaka Sutra Kamandala Atyata Brahmana Syakir Brahmane Sabhidhiyate Maheshvani Vari Maharuda Trishula Vardharini Mahai Hivalaya Prapta Chandra Rekhav Vibhushana Kamari Shakti Hasta Chamayuna Varavana Yodhombayayo Dayanam Ambika Gururupini Tastava Vaishnavi Shaktir Gadorapari Samhita Sakanchara Gadasanga Kadgahasta Boyo Pyayo Vajna Varaham Tulam Rupam Ya Bibrato Hare Shika Sapte Yayao Tatra Varhim Bibrati Tarnum Narashimi Nirsimasya Bibrati Sadhara Vapura Prapta Tatra Sataksepaksipta Naksatra Samhati Vajrasta Tateva Nidri Indri Gajajara Jopahari Stita Prapta Sanharanya Yata Sakras Taivata Sa Tata Pare Vyasta Bir Isano Devasakti Bir Hasyanta Mesara Sugraham Mama Prityaha Chandikam Tato Devi Siraratu Sinosrang Kanta Tibisana Chandika Shaktir Atyogra Shiva Satanam Ninadini Sachaha Drumra Jatila Misyanam Aparijita Dutatvam Gacha Bhagavan Parsvam Shubha Nishumbhayo Bruti Subham Nishumbham Cha Danava Tirgavitau Yechanye Danavas Tatra Yodaya Sampastita Trikolyam Indro Labatam Deva Santu Hever Bhuja Yoyam Prajata Pratalam Yadi Jivit Michata Bala Valapadina Ched Bhavanto Yudhat Karsinya Tada Gachata Tripanyo Machivya Pistinava Yato Niryukto Dayana Tayo Devi Savasavyam Shivadute Lokasims Tatasya Kayatima Gata Tipe Shuva Vacho Devya Savakyatam Mahasyura Mahal Purita Jagmur Yata Katyayanti Sita Tata Pranatam Evagiri Sara Saktir Se Viptibhya Vavarusod Datamas Varas Tam Devi Maharaya Sachatan Prahin Banan Shuklasakti Padavadanan Chichidra Lilaya Drumada Drumamuktir Mahashubhiya Taskratas Kali Supat Sulapata Vridatan Kadvanga Potitam Charanim Kurvati Vaya Charadata Kamandalu Jakla Septa Hata Viryan Hata Yosyaya Brahmani Chakostarun Yena Smadavati Maheshvari Trushulina Tata Chakrena Vaishnavi Datyan Yagana Kamari Tata Shakti Yakopana Indrani Kula Patina Satuso Dayata Danava Purtu Vitarita Prutveyam Rudhiruga Paravasina Tundarapara Vidvasta Damstagra Katavaksa Vatra Muktya Nayapatams Chakrina Cha Vedarita Nakelvidirastams Chanyan Bhaktsayanti Mudhasuran Narasimhir Chakarjal Nadapurna Digambara Chadatasya Rasira Shiva Dutabi Dosita Pena Brivatnayam Patismastams Chadaha Satada Iti Magranam Kurdam Mrdayantam Mahasudan Drevta Beryapaya Vidher Nishudeva Arisinaka Palyenad Parandristva Dretyan Mata Genanditan Yobhun Bayan Yayo Krudo Rakta Brijo Mahasura Rakta Bindur Yada Brumau Patas Yasya Sirata Samut Patati Madindyam Tat Pramanas Tadasura Yodhe Saganda Pranir Indra Shaktya Mahashura Tata Chandrine Sarvarit Jana Jaya Brinam Adeyat Kulasen Nahatu Sayu Banu Surava Sonitam Samustas Tatoyaras Tadrupasyat Parakrama Yavanta Pate Tasya Siradrakta Bindava Tvadanta Purusha Jatas Tatvirya Palavrikrama Techapi Yoyudhus Tatra Purusya Rakta Sambhava Samam Matribir Agustra Tasastra Pata Bisanam Pusancha Varaja Patana Katasmayo Saroyada Vavaraha Ruptam Parusyastato Chita Sarhara Sara Vaishnavi Samre Chainam Chakranabi Jaganaha Gadaya Tayada Yamasa Andrani Tamesrudesvaram Vaishnavi Chakra Binasya Rudhirava Sambhavaya Sahar Sura Sajagadriptam Tampar Manir Mahesashura Sakya Jagana Kamari Varihi Cha Tatasina Maheshvari Trishulana Raktabija Mahasuram Sachape Gandaya Daitraya Sarva Evahanat Pritak Matir Kopa Sambhavito Raktabijo Mahasura Tayan Satasya Badhuda Shakti Sula Dibir Bhuvi Praptayo Vairaktao Gastanasan Chatsyo Sura Tais Chatsura Srikambutir Asura Saklam Jagat Vyaptam Asitoto Devya Mayamaja Murgrunamam Tandrisanan Suran Drisva Chandika Para Praha Savara Uvacha Kalim Chamunde Vietirnam Vadanam Kuru Machastastra Pata Sambutan Rakta Bindaun Masuran Rakta Bindo Prachitvam Raktrenanenya Vejina Bhaktyayane Karerane Tatrudpanam Mahan Suran Evamesa Kresyam Dayata Krishna Krato Meaheyesyate Basyan Manas Tvaya Kuchodra Na Kochot Pasante Chapare Ityuktvatam Tato Devi Salonabi Jagannathatam Mukendakali Jagre Raktabishara Sonitam Tato Savya Ganata Gandaya Tara Chandikam Nachatyas Chaya Vedanam Chakre Susrava Sonatam Yatas Tayastad Vakrena Chamunda Sampratichanti Muke Smudgata Yesyarakta Patan Mahasura Tams Chakrada Chamunda Papo Tasyacha Sonitam Devi Shulina Varana Banesibir Retibia Jaganarakta Bijam Tam Chandamunda Pita Sonatam Sa Papata Mahiprati Sastra Sangha Samhata Nirtascha Mahapala Ratbyo Mahasura Taste Haramantulam Ava Pusridasya Nirpa Tesyam Magranao Jato Naratasun Madohata Om Jema Jema Jema. Om Angrim Klim Chamundai Viche. 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 Breathe deeply and become one with the energies of the mantras and verses and syllables. And let those energies illuminate your awareness of the Divine Mother's presence within your mind and within your heart. That uncertainties become certainty and confidence. And feelings of anxiety and depression be transformed to peace. And may confusion be converted to guidance and understanding. Jema. 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 I invite you now to take a deep and clearing breath. Letting go of the meditation and becoming aware of your surroundings again. Feel the sensation of being seated upon the floor or the chair. Move your fingers and toes. Bring your palms together. Rub them together to generate some heat. Place your palms over your eyes. Let a little light in through your fingers as you slowly open your eyes. Massaging your scalp and face and arms. Bringing the palms of your hands together at your heart center. Om Sana Bhavatu Sana Bhunaktu Saviryam Karavavahai Tejasvinavaditamastu Ma Vidvidyavahai. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Om Tat Sat Om. Jai Ganesha. Jai Guru. Om Namah Shivaya. Jai Ma Devi. Jai Ma Kali. Jai Mata Di. Jai Mata Di. Jai Mata Di. Namaste and blessings always. So thank you for joining me, either live or through the recording. Please join me at noon Denver time tomorrow for Chapter 9 in our continuing study of the Devi Mahatmaya. Have a wonderful day and night ahead and see you soon. Blessings. Namaste.